Hey everyone, welcome to episode 6 of Behind the Practice, where we highlight people, products, and processes serving the dental community. And this podcast is brought to you by DentiMax. I am your host, Alicia Dieujuste. And today we have such a special guest. I am so happy to welcome Elijah Desmond. Elijah has so many hats. CEO of Dental Pitch Brokerage and Advisory, founder of Backstage Dentistry, founder of DSO Pricing, international keynote speaker, entrepreneur, DJ, and 2-time best-selling author. Wow. How are you doing? 3-time now. Wow. Elijah, tell us, how are you doing all of these things? It seems like incredible.
Yes. First off, thank you for having me. I appreciate being a guest. And how am I doing all of these things? It's really straightforward. I have an amazing team. I've always had amazing teams. I wouldn't be able to do anything by myself except for create some really good ideas. And so without action, those ideas don't come true. And it's not the action that I take, it's the team that I empower. And so they are the reason how all of these things have come true. And there's one thing you forgot. There was auctioneer. There was auctioneer.
Oh my God, give us a taste of auctioneer. I need to see that. Can we see that in action?
Of course. Well, here's the thing. Well, you're saying bad. A lot. The typical one is bid it now. So they say bid it now fast, bid it now. A lot of people say, what do you give? What do you give? I say EBITDA. EBITDA. I got a bid, so I can go ahead and say $100. Bid it now. $2, now $3, now EBITDA. 4. Oh, 1,000. All right. How about 1,500? EBITDA. Oh my God, $1 million. Now we got $2 million here. Can I get $3 million? And I got to have the ringmaster saying, yep.
Well, I want that job. Can I have that job? Yeah, I could do the yep part. That is fantastic. I love that.
Yeah. So how do I do all of this stuff though? It's with my teams and it's with having fun. Like if it's not fun, it's work to me.
Yeah.
Yes. I haven't worked in a really long time. I love what I do. The businesses that I have created and the businesses that I am currently owning and working within, it doesn't seem like work. I figured out how to have the best time ever in life and happen to make a huge impact. And a result of the impact is you make money doing it. And so, my big thing is enjoying yourself with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's the new American dream, is to do what you love and get paid for it. And so many people are looking for that. Because you wear a lot of hats, I'm curious, which one surprises people the most?
Now or I think nothing surprises anybody anymore. But I think that I think that the hat, I don't really wear this hat anymore because I let my license expire, but I think dental hygienist. When I tell people that
dental hygienist,
see,
surprise.
But like I walk around with like my hat on and these tattoos, and when I say like I'm a DJ, people aren't like blown away. They're like, "Oh, right. You look like a DJ."
Makes sense, right?
They're more surprised that I'm a broker and that I sell dental practices, right? That I'm a DJ. But I think that would probably be the most surprising thing people say is hygienist. I love hygiene. In dentistry, my career has allowed me literally to see the world, to travel the world, to literally do anything that I want with my career. And it's such a blessing to be in this industry. I mean, it really is. Like, I honestly feel that dentistry allowed me to have the life that I have. And my life is great. Like, who would have thought that I would be like going down the Nile River and in Egypt and going to the Luxor pyramids, DJing on a boat, right? Or in a hot air balloon at an event called Safari and Smiles, going all over the safari and getting to go and give back to an orphanage, a dental orphanage, or go to Vietnam and see the kids at the orphanage there and go to be a part of a CE event where I'm speaking, or I'm going to Greece and in just a couple of months, speaking at a luxury dental retreat. I'm going to I'm going to Iceland, and right after that, speaking at another big event. So like my point is I'm able to do everything from this amazing industry. And oh, by the way, I'm having the time of my life.
That's amazing. So happy for you. And like, we want to hear, because I think your story resonates with a lot of people. A lot of people have that same desire. So tell us how you went from DJ to one of dentistry's leading business advisors. Like, what's the path?
I think the path was just that. It was going off of the beaten path, right? That's the path. Like, I'm not intentionally like not fitting in.
Yeah.
But like, I go on my own path, and I don't care if people are watching, and even if they see me fall. But like, I go down my own path. And so to be, DJing and, having crowds jump up and down and have the time of my life, to specifically, being an advisor. And there's a couple of different ways that the advisory piece picks in. But, when you have been here's the thing. When you have been down roads, you have fell off of mountains, you have scraped your knees, you have got back up, and you're at the top of the mountain and you're holding a flag, you have the ability to advise people.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
That's true. So true. I think a lot of people discount that your failures and challenges lead to your success. They forget that. They just see the success and that's it. And they're like, how do I get from A to Z? And they don't realize the pain and the effort and the trials and the scrapes and the fails and all of that go into getting there. So super valid.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if I've met one successful person who hasn't failed so many times.
Yes. Yeah. Good reminder to everybody is treasure those failures, because they will lead you to the next step.
That's right. And they're really not true failures, because like they're learning lessons.
Yeah.
Like you can say like, I paid for that lesson, or I learned that lesson.
So true.
And honestly, like, once you touch the hot stove, you don't touch the hot stove again.
Right.
And it allows you to really like make the right decision going forward. And if you stack up a ton of failures, you can win. And it's a way bigger win than those little failures ever were. And a lot of times people get stuck on their finger touching the hot stove, like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. It's actually not. It's actually going to prepare you for something way bigger. Like now you know how to freaking make stoves that don't burn. You know what I'm saying? Like, like they won't burn you. Like you get so creative, and you learn to create if you make the failure.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And you also see a need that needs to be filled, and through your own trials and struggles where something's just not hitting the mark for you. And I think that's how a lot of great products and speakers and, just people, that's where they come from. So yeah. So I want to talk about the topic that we're on today, which is how dentists can build a practice that's actually a higher value when they go to sell than maybe what they have today. And I know that's you've got a lot of expertise in a lot of areas, but that's your bread and butter right now. So just give us a little overview.
Absolutely. So first off, whenever I said there's not 2 best-selling books, there's actually 3 now. My book that just got released a week and a half ago made bestseller on many different charts, dentistry being one, entrepreneurship being another, self-employment being another. And the book is called Dental Exit Blueprint, the 13 EBITDA levers to drive maximum growth. So that is my target audience, my target focus. I realize that, I get 50 to 100 inbound referrals from colleagues and friends and leads for dental practices that want to sell. 90% of them, they are not to the point where they should be having any business selling. Yeah. And so I had to essentially, I had to open my eyes and realize don't focus on the 10%, focus on the 90%.
Yeah.
So, and I actually have a free course, which I could drop the link for at some point, that you could actually hear all of the different things for EBITDA growth. That book is 400 pages. So if you want to ask me a specific question about driving maximum value, I'm happy to answer it. But unless you want me to sit on here for 40 minutes and tell you all the things.
All right. Let's narrow it down. So personally, working at DentiMax, I know a lot of dental offices, to your point, that they call us and they say, we're closing our business and we're not selling, I just need to, shut down my account for this, that, and whatever. And the question always hits me, like, why are you closing and you're not selling your business? Is that the right move in some cases, to just close down and not bother selling? Or, should everyone at least check out what maybe a sale might look like? Let's start there.
Yeah, so I hear about practices that are closing down and don't sell. And the reason for that primarily is like one of a few things. The first thing is they don't have a sellable practice. What makes a practice not sellable? Many things. I'll start with number of operatories. So in 2026, you only should be buying practices that are minimum of 5 operatories or more. The more practices, the better. The issue that I see is that these dentists go down to these amazing clinical courses. They get all the clinical training. And because you are getting the education and the training, your numbers are going higher and higher. So what happens is you get a practice. This is called a $3 million practice. Very successful practice. And you have 4 operatories. That practice, unless you want to just give it away, is not really sellable for its worth that it really is, because you have 4 chairs, right? It is a huge mistake that I see on a regular basis, and it's preventable. Don't buy a practice with 4 chairs, or build a practice that is plumbed for, say, 6 or 7, or can be plumbed for that. So that's the first thing. Next thing is that I see practices closing down for is you have a dentist that wants to just leave immediately, and they no longer want to practice, and they're too big. They've built a practice. So by the way, I stand for all practices all in the industry, whether it's a general dentist, a emerging group, or a large DSO. Just to start there. Okay. Now, most practices that we sell are practices that are $2 million and above in revenue. Now, we do make exceptions to the rule sometimes, but primarily $2 million and above. And once you're at that $2 million mark, it's hard for a dentist that's a private practice dentist to get a loan to pay for a practice that is, let's just call it, worth maybe $3 million or 2.5 or even 4 million if they're profitable enough. And so I see the practices that are growing really, really big, and then ultimately they want to leave. Well, a group or a DSO wants you to stay for 3 to 5 years. And they're like, I don't want to do this. I'd rather practice a couple more years and just shut down before I sell out to the DSO. And that's another reason, for them. And last one, and there's some more, but the last one I'll talk about is practices. They don't have they're not exit ready. They're not looking at their EBITDA margin, and the dentist passes away. And the spouse is left with this thing that they have no idea how to run. Right. They don't know how to replace. Can they replace? And then they have to go through grieving. And then it comes out to be 2 years, or not 2 years, 2 months, 3 months. Before you know it, the practice is not even worth anything because there wasn't a plan set in place in the event of somebody passing. So anyways, and there's many things. I'll just keep it at that. But ultimately, if you have the exit in mind from earlier on, you can grow to make it to where you have a successful exit. And that's what the book's about.
So what do you think the biggest misconception is that dentists have about selling their practice?
I mean, I would say there's a bigger misconception about dentists selling to a DSO than dentists selling their practice. Okay. So I would say the biggest misconception is that everything is going to change, which is not the case. Or the DSO is going to come along and be the bad guy and essentially not pay them the rest of their money. When in fact, the DSOs all want to see you grow and be more successful than when you bought them. Right. The DSO is going to fire everybody. You can't fire everybody in an environment where there's a shortage of people. It's like Big misconception. Another misconception is you sell your dental practice and you think that you're going to get 100% of what your practice was valued at. And that's not the case. In this market, you're getting 51 to 70% typically. You know, if you're going to get more, there's an earn out, right? Or they may do a JV partnership. But thinking that they're going to get all their money, or thinking they're going to be able to just walk away. So these are all misconceptions.
Yeah. Is there a scenario where a dentist, and this may not be your bread and butter, but where a dentist can more quickly walk away? And what does that look like?
It's a doctor-to-doctor transaction, and we do about 20% doctor-to-doctor transactions. And in that typical situation, the doctor needs to stay on still about 6 months, could be up to 12 months, but 6 months, because they need to make that trust transfer over from the patient to the new dentist.
Yeah, definitely. Why do you think so many dentists, they unknowingly leave like hundreds of thousands or even $1 million left on the table when they sell?
They don't understand EBITDA. That's the scoop.
Yeah. Pretend I know nothing. What is the base level understanding of EBITDA?
The base level is as basic as you can get, is very straightforward. I'm going to make an easy number. If you make a total of $2 million in collections, okay, not production, but collections, and after you pay out all your team members, after you pay all of your overhead, all of your expenses, including normalized doctor pay, okay, after that is all paid out, there's money that's left over. That's considered like your net profit, okay, after everything is paid. 20%, at 20% EBITDA margin is normal. So at a practice that is $2 million, a normal or normalized EBITDA margin is a total of $400,000. Okay.
Okay.
Now, this is also after all the personal things are added back. All the personal stuff that you run through and the one-time expenses. For example, a cone beam machine, that's a one-time expense. You know, a laser scanner, one-time expense. Even your dental consultant that you paid for the year, they're not going to use that moving forward. That's an add back, right? So you add all those things back. Let's just say that by the time you added all those things back, you had an additional 5%, which is, let's just call it $500,000. So you have $500,000 left over from your practice, and that's a $2 million practice. 500,000, you need to multiply that by a number. It's called a multiple of EBITDA. So 500,000 times these numbers, times 4, times 5, times 6, times 7 ish, maybe times 8 or 7 times or 7.5. A normal multiple of a $500,000 EBITDA is somewhere around 6 minimum to 7. So let's just call that 7. And if you multiply 7 times 500,000, that's a $3.5 million practice sale. Okay. Which is super important to know. 3.5 million. That's a number that's important to understand. Now that was on a 25% EBITDA margin. Okay. Now let me go ahead and say if your EBITDA margin was 10%. So 10% of $2 million, which means that you're not running the business properly. You're spending very inefficiently. The price of everything you're probably overpaying for. Right. That is a $200,000 EBITDA. Okay. And you multiply 200,000 times, let's just call it 5. That's $1 million. So the higher your EBITDA, the higher the multiple. So if you have a $200,000 EBITDA versus a $500,000 EBITDA, your practice could sell for $1 million versus up to $3.5 million. That is a massive, huge swing. And people need to understand the reason for that is the EBITDA or your profit, which is a huge reason why we created DSO pricing. Right? DSO pricing is essentially is the whole intention, and it's not like a GPO. There's a lot of GPOs. It's not a GPO. Okay. It is essentially like, you could call it a GPO, but GPOs are mostly supplies and labs. This is for every single thing on your profit and loss statement, like everything that it takes to run a practice, from your IT company, to your merchant services, to every product that you run through, to your practice management software, to AI, to revenue cycle management. I mean, everything you could ever think of at a discount, as if you're getting it through DSO pricing at a discount, like it's Heartland Dental. So every service you could think of. But big thing is there's a ton of practices that are coming through at like a 10% EBITDA margin. And we won't sell them because it's a disservice to them. They're only making, $1 million compared to 3 million plus. It's a huge difference.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at the difference in dollars going into the piggy bank for retirement, that's crazy. So obviously the next natural question here is, what are the biggest EBITDA levers that can increase that practice value? Where do we go from here if they're that 10% right now?
Absolutely. So I'll start with some of the very easiest things. So look at your lab. Like, I know you're friends with your lab. Your crowns fit perfectly, all the above. I'm going to tell you something that I personally learned. You could go to get a zirconia block and create the crown here in the United States. Or you could take that same zirconia crown and you go outside of the United States. And a lot of people are like, I'll never do things outside of the US. Like, okay, stop it, get over it. They're still humans. The cost of living is substantially lower outside of the country. And so an example would be, you use the same exact cubic zirconia, right? And it's, let's just call it $200 versus say $50. One example. So $150 savings for 10 crowns is $1,500. For 20 crowns a month is $3,000. $3,000 times 12 months is $36,000. Now, let's just say, let's call it 40,000. Multiply that times a 6 times multiple. That's $240,000 more on a sale of a practice. That's one thing. The next thing, merchant services. Oh my goodness, so easy. Merchant services. You do one thing. You say, hey, patient, here's the convenience fee to use your credit card. It's right on the line item. Every business is charging us 30% of dental professionals. You have a $2 million practice. Guess what? You're probably going to put in your pocket. It means that you're not paying it for the patient. You're going to put in your pocket $40,000. $40,000, in 1 year. You multiply that times a 6 times multiple. There's $250,000. Like, whoever's watching this podcast, I just made you literally $500,000. Meanwhile, people are out there, coaching on culture, which is good, by the way, or saying
that. Sure.
Go do this or go do that in your practice. Like, just do some simple stuff. Like, let me give you another example. Insurance negotiations. You gotta understand, all that money goes straight to bottom line.
Right.
And these companies that help you with insurance negotiations, they're able to increase your insurance reimbursement by, let's just call it 10%, or right, 7 to 12%. Those are massive numbers. It's massive. Say $2 million practice. Let's just say 1.5 million of that is in insurance. Okay, so now 10% increase is $150,000. $150,000 times 2 is 300. Times 6 is 900,000. You're talking about almost $1 million from one simple lever. I mean, I could go on for forever. There's a lot of different EBITDA levers that you can pull.
Okay, I love this. And I love how passionate you are about the numbers. I do some insurance billing on the side, and it's I love the numbers. So I love the fact that you're just giving us raw data here and how simply you could break it down. And I'm sure your book probably goes into this, the more in-depth version, but this high-level, simple, digestible overview, I think, is where a lot of practice owners, they don't have experience selling a dental practice if they've only ever owned one dental practice, so they just don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me give you another one really quick because I can't help myself. Okay. So supplies. Okay. Newsflash.
Yeah.
Heartland Dental. Love them to death, by the way. Aspen Dental. Don't know them that much, but I don't dislike them. They're for their supplies. I'm make an example for their supplies. I don't know if you realize, but their box of gloves that you pay $25 for,
Right.
same box of gloves. The gloves fit the same. They look the same. They got the same brand. They come from the same place. But you pay $25 as a private practice dentist or emerging group. They're paying like $15.
Wow. That's a big savings.
That's a huge savings. And just switching your supply company and working with like a group purchasing organization. Let's just make a number. You got $2 million. So 1% of $2 million is how much? Is that $20,000, right?
$20,000. Yeah.
Yeah. 20,000. So how about what 2%? If you save 2%,
right.
Okay. So 2% is 40,000. That's another $250,000. Alicia, we're going to be up over $1 million in savings in no time. I think we already did it with the insurance negotiations, but
I like it. I wish I had a practice to sell.
and they have to think of stuff that's completely different if you're going to sell, because if you are focused on things that are going straight to your bottom line, that is directly to your bottom line, which ultimately is your EBITDA. Compared to, let me just say for marketing, love marketing agencies, okay? Yeah. But I want to put this in perspective. Right. You have to pay for marketing.
Yeah.
Okay? You have to pay hours for your team to work on those patients. You need disposables of all sorts. You're blocking your schedule. What did I say for everybody wants to be at 20%. So that means for every $1,000 that you generate, okay, $200 is what you're going to actually get like to your bottom line.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can
absolutely.
So if you focus on like revenue, it's, and I'm not saying that's wrong. You should do it if you're trying to grow your practice. But if you're focusing on your EBITDA, you think about it. If you cut expenses first, cut all of the expenses that go straight to the bottom line. And you could do growth at the same time. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, for sure. Yeah. Grow your practice. But the easy, low-hanging fruit is in just slashing your prices, getting efficient.
Yep. Yeah. No, I love that. So how far in advance do dentists need to start thinking about this? I mean, obviously, get the savings now. Don't wait. Start slashing your pricing now, right? I mean, your expenses. But... Yeah. When does it make sense for them to start talking to a person like you in the planning stage? Yeah,
you start talking immediately. First off, calls are free. Our advisory service, which is 90%, is free. So the time to talk to somebody like me is now. But realistically, you need to get all of your cost savings done, meaning you can't do everything at once. So start one thing at a time. And then from the time you're done moving everything, realistically, you're going to need 9 months to 12 months, of that in the books. So you can get credit for all that and then sell for hundreds of thousands or even $1 million plus. Yeah. Or millions if you're a group. Yep.
Right. I think there's a lot of dentists who just give up. They're like, oh, I didn't pre-plan for this and I'm ready to get out in 18 months and whatever, I'll just close. I think a lot of that is what happens. So, That's
just ignorance. And it's okay. It's not their fault. It's because they just didn't know. They didn't listen to this podcast. They didn't read that book. They didn't hear that person from the stage. They didn't know, because if they would have known, they would have planned better. But the people that do know, it's hard to unlearn what you're hearing today.
Yeah, I know. I feel the urgency, and I'm like, I don't even own a dental office, but I'm like, let's go get those numbers now.
That's right. That's right. I mean, every dollar saved, you're putting $6 in your pocket. Like, it just makes so much sense.
Yeah, that multiple, I love that. It's so exciting to me. How has private equity changed the dental marketplace, in your opinion, over the last few years?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. They got really excited too fast. They jumped into our space, and many did it the wrong way.
Okay.
And it's created a bad taste for the DSO space.
Yeah.
right? It's created a bad tasting. And what they did wrong is they went and they bought up practices at 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the doctors just left, and that was their asset. So the earnouts weren't as popular back then, where they would give, 80% to 100%, thinking the dentist would say, and the dentist is like, this is the biggest payday I ever seen. See ya. And now they're stuck holding the bag, right? So like that's a huge miss. Another thing is paying way too high of multiples. And then the doctors let off the gas, and they paid something crazy like a 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times multiple, and they overpaid. And because they overpaid, they got into bad financial situations, which is why you're seeing some of the big DSOs, not a lot, but some of them completely crumble because they bought wrong. And now they're not buying wrong, and they're way more strict, which means it's harder for a brokerage firm like mine to take them to the finish line, but it's still possible. They just had to get creative on how they're buying.
Yeah, that makes sense. In my understanding, you correct me if I'm wrong because you're the expert on this topic. Do you broker the whole deal, or are you on the buyer side or the seller side?
It's a great question. So I am a sell side broker. We will never accept money from the buy side. However, it is legal. So you can accept money from the buy side. I am paid on the seller side, and just for education, a typical broker will charge between 6% of the sale and 12% of the sale. That is very standard. 8 to 10 is probably the norm. The bigger the practice, the higher the EBITDA margin, and the easier the sale, the lower the percentage is. And then the buyers will offer 1 to 5% to brokers, many of them, many of the brokers take it. We personally will never take it. And the reason why is if I'm representing a seller, they're paying me the money, and there's somebody that's offering me an additional 5%.
Right.
Or who am I going to go with? 5% or the no percent? I'm going to have them go towards the 5%.
Right.
And it's simply not ethical, in my opinion. It's legal, but it's not ethical. So, but I'll tell you the relationships we do have with the buyers. We have contracts that are non-disclosure agreements, meaning they can't tell anything to anyone from the office's information that we're giving them. We have a non-circumvent with them, meaning they can't go around us and go buy the practice without us after we introduce them. And then we have a non-solicit, meaning they can't go and poach their team members when they find out that they're buying, or tell their team members as well.
That's good. Yeah.
We have over 100 very strong buyers in our network. And those buyers all understand that whenever we sell a practice, we're actually getting a quality of earnings light done, which is completely different than a valuation on the practice. And a quality of earnings light, it actually is what they do. They do a quality of earnings. That's their due diligence. And whereas forensic accounting. So we are coming and saying the exact adjusted EBITDA for the past 3 years, their EBITDA the past 3 years, active patients, new patients, all the trends, so they can see it. And then they're negotiating with us a multiple of EBITDA and the terms, which is very unique and very different in the space. Also, when we work with practices, we actually have short-term contracts, which is not the norm either in our industry. Short-term contracts essentially means like, listen, if we can't find you a buyer and fast, we'll release you, and it's okay. We also work with other brokers in the space. So if we can't, for some reason, find a buyer, we're open to working and collaborating with a massive broker network, which is not necessarily the norm in our industry.
Right.
And
yeah, exactly.
Yep. And so we will help to widen the net, and we'll actually share in our fees with the other brokerage firms.
That's awesome. I definitely think the short-term contract, I haven't heard any brokerages doing that. So that's really unique. You said that term is how long?
We have 6-month contracts, and that's after their quality of earnings is done. All right.
Okay.
So they get the
Got it.
quality of earnings done, and we take them to market, and we have 6 months. And listen, some of the contracts are, most industry standard is 12 months. I've seen 24 months. I've seen 36 months, and I've even seen 2-year tails on contracts. And what does that mean? That means that if you, as the broker, blast it out to your entire network, and network is really openly defined, could just have email addresses. Some, you don't have to have contracts.
Exactly.
And they blast it out, and let's just say they have, I'll call it 400. You're not, if you sell that practice, you will be giving them the money. You're legally entitled to give them the money that you signed up for, even if it's up to 2 years past the time you worked with them. And so
Wow.
it is the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
And
That's
we
dentistry for you.
and we picked up on that and seen that, and we just try to make it as fair as possible. Another thing is when you talk about numbers, oftentimes a dental practice sells on total enterprise value. You get a percentage of that. And that means that if they only sell 60% of their practice, that means that you only get, or you get all 100%. If the agreement says that you get the total enterprise value, we actually only take on the amount that the practice sells. So if they only sell 60%, that's all we're getting.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a whole new layer that I have zero clues on. So that's a really good point to make here. Good education point.
Yes.
What do you think separates, I think I have some clues in the levers and all of that, but what do you think separates the practices that receive the premium valuation from those that don't on average?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say first, they lack key man risk, meaning one dentist that's taking the majority of the collections.
Yeah.
That's doing the production essentially. And so there's a diverse group of dentists that are there. A strong hygiene program.
Yes.
Hygiene programs are super important. You know, when you have hygiene programs that are 20 is kind of like benchmark. 30 is like extremely good, 30%.
Yeah.
And it's possible to get up to 40%, but 30% is like where you should aim for. And I'd also like highly recommend to get a hygiene coach. The hygiene is down. That could be so huge for the practice. People just don't understand that hygienist, that hygienist can make you an additional, $100,000 in a year, which is very possible to do. You're looking at like, an extra $500,000 plus on your sale. Now, if you have 2 hygienists, over $1 million, hire the hygiene coach. They're a huge part of the practice. As a matter of fact, groups and a lot of DSOs, if they don't have a strong hygiene department, they just don't buy.
If you haven't been doing it is the key, I think. It's so hard without a coach to rebuild a hygiene program that's broken and falling apart, and you have holes everywhere, and you're only diagnosing prophies all the time. It's definitely a hole and a huge missed opportunity, 100%.
Yeah, speaking about coaches, and by the way, don't get it twisted. I am not a coach. My days of coaching are long gone. Advisory work and coaching is totally different. Advisors tell you the right coaches and consultants and all the things to go work with. No accountability, no hand holding, no monthly calls. It is completely different. But speaking of coaches and consultants, the best time, hands down, to hire a coach or a consultant in any category is typically 6 months, a year, 2 years out. I'm going to tell you why. A lot of people go through coaches. Oh, it didn't work, or this stuff was good, or my team didn't take to them. They didn't, whatever it is. I'm going to tell you, being honest, it didn't hurt enough for you to implement those changes. It just didn't hurt enough. You didn't need to do it. Now, when you build your practice your entire life, and this depends on your retirement, whether you're going to get $1 million or $3.5 million, well, you're going to listen now. You're going
Right.
to you're going to do what they said, and you're going to, which is completely different than, oh, I want to improve my numbers, or this, my friend
We
said
should be doing better.
we should be, and oh, hey Karen at the front, like you don't have to listen to what they say. It's okay. I'm going to coddle you. Like no, like this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we are implementing. I'm
Yep.
holding you accountable to it. Now all of a
Yep.
sudden, a coach suddenly magically works because it hurts bad enough. Like you want it
Right.
bad enough.
Right. Yeah. No, totally fair point right there. If you could give every practice owner one piece of advice 5 years before they're looking to sell, like if they're 5 years out, what's that one piece of advice?
Hire a big team. Hire a team. When I
Mm-hmm.
say big team, let me define it.
Yeah.
Your office should have enough chairs to put the
Mm-hmm.
team in, number one. Number two, if you hire a big team, that means get your 3-4 hygienists with full schedules. Get your 3 to 4 dentists. Don't work as much, because I can guarantee you when you're 5 years out, you're not going to
Mm-hmm.
want to be working at all, or that much. So when you
Right.
sell, you can sell the asset. You don't have to be a part of that asset unless it's 1 to 2 days a week. So hire the team, and get more CE. Don't just get CE for yourself, right? Get it for the whole team. Have your team go along. I don't know how many times I've been speaking and asked, how many dentists are in the room? 100% of that. Well, who brought a team member? No, but no team members. Like it's so hard to take what you learn and try to bring it out and apply it if you don't have your team with you. A team is just as important for the CE is important for the team as much as the dentist.
Yeah, I think fortunately that's one upswing I'm starting to see on my side is there are more CEs for non-dentists, non-hygienists popping up. And that's encouraging.
I also really think it would be very wise to include the team on business and on numbers, and
Yeah.
incentivize them when they win.
Yes.
That's like huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. If you want to foster that like mentality of I'm not just showing up to punch the clock and go home. I'm part of building something and I get to take part in the reward of having built that. It's a totally different mindset.
I agree. Tell your team that you appreciate them too. Like if you're watching this, and if you're a team member and watching this too, text your dentist or text your team, all of them. Tell them that you appreciate them. It will go so far.
Yeah, that's really good advice. So let's talk about okay, they work a practice calls you, you work with them, they end up getting a sweetheart deal. What does life after dentistry look like? And how do dental owners, how do they prepare for that?
First off, I'm going to go ahead and give you the aha, or the warning. I have exited 7 times, meaning I have
Okay.
grown businesses, scaled them, and sold them 7 times. And I will tell you that
Uh-huh.
by far, the biggest thing that people don't prepare you for is the lack of emotion that comes through when you have refreshed your screen to see that wire hit.
Yeah.
So wire hits, you think it's going to be a huge party. No,
Mm-hmm.
it's not. Like, it isn't. So don't look forward to that. Here's what you should look forward to. It will be a complete relief because the process is over and you've now transitioned, right? That it'll be a relief.
Yeah.
What to look forward to? Well, it depends on who you sell to or how you sell. So that's kind of loaded, but at the end of the day, if you're going to sell your practice and stay in it for 3 to 5 years, you can look forward to not having so much business stress, like, having to hire and fire, having to control, payroll, and having to make sure that you're getting all your monies that are out there and getting them into your bank account. Having to stay after and do so much work, all the admin stuff, it pretty much goes away. And that's the best part in that transition period. And also, you need to remember this 1 to 2 years prior to selling, The life you want to live after is a life you have to start living today. So that means that if you want to work 3 days a week, and you don't want to work 5 days a week, you need to transition that 1 to 2 years prior to actually selling. So it's obvious that whoever is the associate that's taking your place can keep up with that. And you only have to maintain that 3 days per week. Another thing is do not go crazy ramping your production and working super hard because you're about to sell. So you want to make your numbers jacked up high. Big, giant mistake, because you have to keep that same pace up for the next 3 to 5 years. So get smart with your numbers and trim EBITDA. Don't ramp, because you have to keep up that pace for the next 3 to 5 years.
Such a good point. And I do think that this is the challenge for solo practitioners, is their whole business is built around themselves. And if something happens, God forbid, they get hurt, they can't practice anymore. To your point, they pass away unexpectedly, whatever the case is, if it was all on their shoulders and they were the guy, I think people discount how hard it is to transition those patients and the patient loyalty and the desire to stay in that practice so that the practice is worth something versus it was the guy doing the work. So that's my biggest takeaway from this conversation, is definitely to look out and look forward in planning that.
Yep. To have the phone call.
Have the phone call.
Have the phone call. Be prepared. You can't unknow something what somebody teaches you. And I have so many resources, like they're free. They're free resources, right? There's a lot of podcasts. There's, there's I have the course that I can get the link for. Maybe we can put in the show notes.
Great. Yeah.
It's free. It's all education. And here's the thing, I have nothing to sell. Only time I'm gonna sell something is when you're ready to sell your practice. And most people aren't ready. Most people aren't ready.
Right.
So get the education, and then like the book. The book is like super affordable on Audible,
Yeah.
or Kindle, or you could spend $60 and get a hardcover if you're need it in your hand. But there's so many resources out there. If you just take the time to use them, you'll be so much further ahead than your colleagues, and you can thank me later.
Yes, I love that. There has to be a mindset shift here for a lot of these solo practitioners. Stop building yourself a job and start looking at yourself as the CEO of your entity and business planning in that, instead of just, I do dentistry. So I do think that's probably the biggest takeaway I can share with the people, the solo practitioners that I know, is to just start thinking about it differently and reach out to Elijah and have that conversation, start planning.
Yeah. And I just want to, end on you have a family. Many of you have kids. Many of you are working long hours, and your kids are only getting older. Your family's only, growing. And at the end of the day, you deserve to give yourself a break. You've worked for a lot of part of your life, and the sense of freedom that you will get after you sell and you can just practice as a dentist is remarkable. But you deserve it. And that should go over anything. You've worked your whole life. Okay. Time to tap back a little bit, take some chips off the table, practice dentistry. You'll thank me later.
Yes. Anything else you think our audience should know, Elijah?
No, just pick up the phone and call. That's it. Pick up the phone and call. There's unlimited resources. DSOpricing.com is a huge resource to grow your EBITDA. Hire that consultant. I have 700 of them in the group that I started, by the way.
You've got one for everything.
Yeah, I got the best 1 or 2 or 3 for every category, and there's a lot. But pick up the phone and just ask for help. And you can reach out to me, Elijah, at dentalpitchbrokerage.com. And I'm extremely active on social media. That is me. That's not an assistant responding. I do get 30 to 50 DMs each day throughout the channels, and that is me responding. It could take a couple days sometimes, but my love language is communication. Just reach out, ask the question, and you don't know the answer to the question unless you ask it.
I love the heart of where you come from and just wanting to help people and see success happen, whatever that looks like for individuals. And it's just such a pleasure to have you on today. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.